Hi everybody, today we are going to see Communicative Skills Through Literature Paper 2, Units 1, 2 and 3. Welcome on board to Storyboard. What? A story and a board? Of course, we all know them separately, what a story is and what a board is. In what way they are connected with each other? Storyboard helps the students to understand the play as well as to explore various issues confronted in the play. Explaining the story in an elaborate way along with identifying and analyzing the theme. Further, this can be used to make comparisons within and between the texts. The storyboard helps us to summarize, to sequence the events, and to focus on certain literary elements such as flashback and foreshadowing. It can also be used as a pre-writing activity. This mind map clearly shows the advantages of working with a storyboard. The few spelling or grammatical errors can be corrected by yourself. It enhances the team or the group work under the guidance of the teacher. All the content of the storyboard will be of your own words. It includes all the required elements as well as a few additional informations. It is easy to read because all the elements are clearly written, labeled and drawn. The time is well utilized with no adult reminders. Here, for example, we will see how to create a storyboard for Shakespeare's play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. What's this play about? In order to understand what the play is, first we need to discuss the theme of the play. After reading the play, you can trace out the theme, classify the main theme and the sub-themes. Here, the main theme, of course, is universal and fundamental ideas. In a work of literature which includes the difficulty of love. Is there any difficulty in loving a person? Yes, says Shakespeare through this play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. And the sub-themes or the supporting themes are the other magic and dream, which depicts the illusionary world, whereas the difficulty of love depicts the reality world. The play is heavily or tightly packed with motifs and symbols. What are motifs? They are recurring structures that inform themes, and here it is the contrasts or the opposites, such as tall and short, ugly and beautiful, etc. Then what are these symbols? They are objects, colors and figures used to represent ideas or concept in a work. The characters Theseus and Hippolyta represent order and stability. Unreasoning and fickle nature of love is explained through the love portion. The craftsman's play represents the theme of this play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Who are the characters involved in this play? The major classification of the characters can be done as the fairies and the mortals. The mortals can further be grouped as the Athenians, the Athenian lovers and the craftsmen. The fairies. Puck. He is Oberon's jester, a mischievous fairy who delights in playing pranks on mortals. Oberon, the king of the fairies. Titania, the beautiful queen of the fairies. Peace Blossom, Cobweb, Moat and Mustard Seed are the fairies ordered by Titania to attend to Bottom after she falls in love with him. Now let us see the mortal characters. Under the Athenian mortals, we classify the characters. Aegeus, he is Hermia's father, who has given Demetrius permission to marry Hermia. Theseus, the Duke of Athens, engaged to Hippolyta. Hippolyta, the legendary queen of the Amazons, betrothed to Theseus. Philostrate, a party planner responsible for organizing the entertainment for the Duke's wedding. Next, we'll focus on the mortal lovers' characters. Lysander was in love with Hermia. Demetrius, he initially was in love with Helena and ultimately he fell in love with Hermia. Hermia, of course, we all know she is Aegeus' daughter who was in love with Lysander, and further she is a childhood friend of Helena. Helena in love with Demetrius, to whom she was once engaged, but then was abandoned by Demetrius for Hermia. The third classification of mortals are the craftsmen. Nick Bottom, a weaver who was chosen to play Pyramus in the craftsman's play. Peter Quince, carpenter, plays the prologue. Francis Flute, a bellows mender who plays the role of Thisbe in the play. Robin Stavling, a tailor chosen to play the part of Moonshine. Tom Snout, a tinker who ends up playing the part of Wall, dividing the two lovers. Snug, a joiner who was chosen to play the character of Lion. Act 1. This page displays Act 1, which we can otherwise call as an Exposition Act. What is an Exposition Act? Some truth is being exposed to the whole world. Here, the love of both Hermia and Helena for Lysander and Demetrius are exposed. Further, after learning the love of these two ladies, Theseus, he warns Hermia that disobeying her father could result in her being sent to a convent or killed. The Inciting Incident. Hermia and Lysander, they plan to escape Athens the following night and get married in the house of Lysander's aunt. Of course, they trust Hermia's friend Helena, and so they revealed the truth to Helena. Helena tells Demetrius of these lovers' plans because she wanted to gain the love and affection of Demetrius. After learning the truth, Demetrius, he goes into the woods in search for Hermia, and further Helena, she follows Demetrius. The rising action. This takes place in the wood. Both the fairies and the Athenian craftsmen were present. Oberon and Titania are fighting over a young Indian prince given to Titania by the prince's mother. The boy is so beautiful that Oberon wishes to make him a knight, but Titania, owing the promise to her friend, refuses. Seeking revenge, Oberon sends his merry servant Puck to acquire a magical flower, the juice of which can be spread over the sleeping Titania to make her fall in love with the first thing she sees upon waking. And the rising action follows the inciting incident. In this rising action, Puck gets the flower, and Oberon witnesses the love of Helena for Demetrius, and Demetrius ignoring Helena, and so he orders Puck to spread some of the juice on the eyelids of a young Athenian man. Puck mistakes Lysander for Demetrius and puts a love potion on his eyes. Lysander sees Helena and falls deeply in love with her, abandoning Hermia. Titania wakes. The first person she sees is Bottom, whose head Puck has transformed into that of a donkey, and she fell in love with Bottom, a donkey-faced mortal. This is followed by the conflict, and ultimately the scene leads to the climax. Puck has to undo his mistake. Lysander and Demetria both end up in love with Helena, who believes that they are making fun of her. Hermia, she becomes jealous because Lysander leaving her aloof and challenges Helena to a fight. Demetrius and Lysander nearly do fight over Helena's love, but Puck confuses them by mimicking their voices. The falling action. Oberon, he obtains the Indian boy when Titania was in the spell of the love potion. Puck, he spreads the love potion on Lysander's eyelids, and by morning all is well. Theseus and Hippolyta, they discover the sleeping lovers in the forest and take them back to Athens to be married. Demetrius now loves Helena and Lysander now loves Hermia. Resolution. After the wedding, the couples watch the craftsmen perform their play, a fumbling, hilarious version of the story of Pyramus and Thisbe. The lovers go to bed. The fairies bless the sleeping couples and then disappear. Puck remains to ask the audience for its forgiveness and approval, and to urge it to remember the play as though it had all been a dream. And that is A Midsummer Night's Dream. Here, interlude plays a very important role. This story of Pyramus and Thisbe is the interlude of this play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Of course, the story of Pyramus and Thisbe is a very tragic one. They had parents who opposed their love. They arranged to meet at Ninus' tomb. Thisbe arrived earlier than Pyramus. She saw a lion which had just killed a bullock. She ran away, leaving her cloak behind, which was seized by the blood-stained jaws of the lion. Pyramus arrived on the scene and saw the blood-stained cloak. He killed himself, thinking that his beloved had been devoured by the lion. Thisbe returned, found Pyramus dead, and killed herself as well. Thank you.